God says, it's an emergency. The words arrive not through thunder or burning sky, but through a quiet stirring that won't let you rest. Something is calling. Something wants you to listen this time. My child, the voice continues, no one is telling you this huge news. A family of unmeasured wealth has just selected your name. They have chosen you, and what they will offer is greater than gold. But you must open the message before it's too late. You wake from the dream with your heart pounding. It feels real, almost too real. The room around you glows faintly with the early light of dawn, and for a moment you wonder if you're still dreaming. You whisper the words aloud, a billionaire family, chosen, and laugh nervously. It sounds absurd, and yet, something in you can't let it go. All day, the sentence follows you like a shadow. In the noise of traffic, in the chatter of coworkers, in the hum of the elevator, you keep hearing it. Open it before it's too late. You can't explain why it feels important. Maybe it's not about money at all. Maybe family means something else. Maybe opening means more than tearing an envelope. That evening you return home to find a plain envelope on your doorstep. There's no address, no stamp, only your name written in graceful handwriting that seems almost alive. The air thickens around you. You pick it up carefully, as though it might vanish if handled too roughly. Inside is a single sheet of parchment. No signature, no seal, just a few words written in ink that shimmers faintly when it catches the light. You have been selected to receive what cannot be bought. The fortune you seek has waited since before you were born. If you wish to claim it, come with an open heart. You sit for a long time staring at the page. It's beautiful, mysterious, terrifying. You want to dismiss it as some elaborate prank, but deep inside, a flicker of knowing stirs, that this message is not from the world. That night, you dream again. You see a vast table surrounded by people dressed in light, not luxury. They are radiant, not rich in gold but in peace. At the head of the table sits a woman whose eyes hold galaxies. She smiles at you and gestures toward an empty chair. This family, she says, has been waiting for you. You sit, trembling. I don't belong here, you whisper. Her smile deepens. That's what every heir says at first. But you do. The inheritance is already yours, you only forgot how to claim it. She reaches across the table and places something in your hand, a key carved of light. This unlocks the door to the real fortune, courage, kindness, purpose. Use it before the world convinces you that you are poor. When you wake, your palm still tingles as if holding something warm. The next morning you notice small things differently. The world feels sharper, more alive. Sunlight on a stranger's face. The laughter of children playing near the bus stop. Even the smell of rain seems richer. You realize that wealth has many shapes, and some of them have nothing to do with money. At work, you see how tired everyone looks, faces bent toward screens, voices heavy with complaint. You feel the urge to share your dream, but you stop. It isn't time yet. Instead, you begin by offering what you can, a compliment, a moment of listening, a small act of grace. Each gesture feels like unlocking another invisible door. Each time, the world answers with something gentle, a thank you, a smile, a ripple of lightness in the air. You start to wonder if this is what the billionaire family meant when they said they chose you. Maybe it isn't about being given wealth, but being trusted to give it. That night, the voice returns, softer now, more familiar. My child, you have begun to understand. The treasure is already flowing through you. But there is more waiting. You must travel deeper, past the walls you've built around your heart. The richest inheritance cannot be carried in closed hands. You sit in silence, feeling something expand inside you, a warmth that is both frightening and beautiful. You remember every time you felt unworthy, every time you believed you had nothing to offer, and you see how wrong you were. The true emergency was never about missing an opportunity from the world, it was about missing yourself. You whisper into the stillness, then show me what to do. The voice replies like a breeze through leaves, keep giving. Keep loving. Every act of kindness writes your name deeper into the book of the family. And with that, the night rests around you like a promise. The morning sun cuts through your blinds in thin, golden ribbons. You wake with a clarity that surprises you. The envelope, the shimmering words, the dream, they all feel like markers along a path you are just beginning to understand. You dress and step outside. The city hums as usual, but your perception has shifted. The faces in the crowd are not strangers, they are chapters of a story that has been waiting for you to notice. You begin to see how the wealth spoken of is not counted in currency. It is counted in opportunity, in connection, in courage. Your first stop is the local park. Children run in circles, shouting, chasing leaves, chasing dreams that are too big for them to name. You find yourself smiling without realizing it. One child trips on the edge of the path and falls. Without thinking, you rush over, help her up, brush the dirt from her jacket. She looks at you with wonder, and in her eyes, you catch a reflection of your own heart, the part that has always wanted to matter. The key from your dream tingles in your pocket. You press your hand to it. It is warm, pulsing. A gentle reminder that every act of care opens another door. Every kind gesture adds to the inheritance you are beginning to claim. Later, you walk past the coffee shop where you often stop for a quiet moment. The barista seems distracted, restless. Normally, you would sip your drink and retreat to your phone, avoiding the world's small crises. But now, the pull is different. Rough morning, you ask. He glances up, startled, and then his shoulders loosen. Yeah, he says. Just one of those days. Then let me make it a little better, you reply, offering a genuine smile. He laughs, a sound of relief spilling into the shop, and for a moment, the room shifts. You realize that the inheritance isn't a treasure hidden somewhere, but a ripple you send out when you notice another's burden. Even small acts like this seem to reverberate. On the street later, someone opens a door for another pedestrian. A forgotten wallet is returned with a smile. A stranger's compliment lingers longer than expected. You begin to understand, wealth is not measured, it is multiplied. That night, the voice returns. Softer now, closer to your own thoughts. You are learning, it says. The world offers what it cannot keep. But the inheritance I have given is unbreakable, endless, and yours whenever you choose to open your hands. You sit at your desk, staring at the ceiling. You think of every time you felt powerless, every moment you thought you were too small to make a difference. And you see now that none of that mattered. Power and money may come and go, but the ability to give, to love, to see, that is permanent. You write a note, today I offered my attention. I smiled when I could have ignored. I listened when I could have walked away. I began to give what I have always carried inside me, When you read it back, the words glow softly, almost as if alive. You understand that the inheritance is not something you hold, it is something you become. The following days are filled with small revelations. At work, you offer help to a struggling colleague and discover that in lifting them, you feel lighter. On the street, you give directions to someone lost, realizing that your knowledge and attention are treasures you've often taken for granted. Even at home, you notice the details you once ignored, the way sunlight drifts across your living room, the sound of wind in the trees, the smell of dinner cooking in the next apartment. Every detail is part of the inheritance. Every moment, if noticed, is a gift waiting to be acknowledged. One evening, walking along the river, you encounter an elderly man tossing scraps of bread to the birds. You pause and ask if you can join him. He smiles and hands you some crumbs. Why do you do this, you ask. Because it matters, he says simply. Because small acts make the world less lonely. The words strike you like lightning. The inheritance has always been here, hidden in these simple moments of giving, receiving, noticing. Money could never buy it. Fame could never grant it. Only attention, care, and courage could. You stand, feeling the chill of the river breeze, and press your hand into your pocket where the key rests. It's warm. It hums quietly. You realize that this is what the message meant, the billionaire family, the selection, the emergency. It was never about gold. It was about awakening to the wealth you already possess. That night, As snow begins to fall softly against the city, you sit at your window and write letters to friends, family, even strangers. Some will never be sent, some might reach hands that need them most. Each one feels like a seed. Each one carries the inheritance further into the world. The voice speaks one final time for the day, this is only the beginning. You have been chosen not for what you can receive, but for what you can give. Open your hands, open your heart, and watch the fortune of love flow through you. You place the key on your desk. It glows faintly. You realize now that the treasure is not hidden. It is everywhere, in every kind word, every careful gesture, every act of courage. And it is yours to claim, every single day. Morning arrives with a gentle hush, the kind that seems to suspend time for just a moment. You wake feeling lighter, as if a weight you didn't realize you carried has lifted. The key from your dream rests in your pocket, warm and reassuring, and you feel a quiet urgency, not to rush, but to move with intention. You step outside and notice the city differently. The people who rush past you daily are no longer faceless figures, each one carries a story, a struggle, a gift. You begin to see their small battles and triumphs, the way they navigate life with courage you may have overlooked before. At the cafe, you stop to smile at the barista, who looks exhausted. "Good morning," you say simply. She pauses, and for the first time today, her face softens. She laughs, a genuine note of relief slipping through her tiredness. In that moment, you realize that attention itself is a gift. Noticing someone, giving them presence, can change a day in ways money never could. On your way to work, you encounter a street performer struggling to keep his balance with a heavy instrument case. Without thinking, you offer to help carry it a few blocks. The gratitude in his eyes is like sunlight cutting through clouds. You notice how small gestures ripple outward, the smile he shares with passers-by, the child who stops to watch and laughs, the elderly woman who nods at you in thanks. You think of the words from the letter, "The fortune you seek has waited since before you were born." You begin to understand that fortune is not measured in wealth or status but in the connections you foster and the lives you touch. Each act of care, no matter how small, compounds, weaving unseen threads of meaning and abundance through the world. At work, an unexpected challenge arises. A project that seemed straightforward suddenly becomes complicated, and tension rises among your colleagues. In the past, you might have stressed, argued, or withdrawn. But today, something inside you has shifted. You pause, breathe, and approach the situation with calm. You listen before speaking, offering solutions gently, guiding without pushing. By the end of the day, the problem is resolved not only practically but relationally. People leave with less frustration, more understanding, more hope. You feel the invisible glow of the inheritance coursing through you, the realization that true wealth lies in the way you respond to the world, in the courage to act with empathy and clarity. That evening, you walk along the river. The water flows steadily, reflecting the fading light of the sun. You pause on the bridge, watching the currents carry leaves and light alike. The city hums around you, but you are calm, centered. You feel a presence, subtle but undeniable, a reminder that you are not alone, that guidance exists in the quiet, in the whisper of conscience and the promptings of love. A child nearby struggles to fly a kite, its string tangled and stubborn. You approach and kneel beside them, carefully untangling the knots. When the kite finally rises, the child laughs with pure delight. Something inside you stirs, joy, wonder, and a sense of purpose you've only glimpsed until now. You realize that heaven, or whatever unseen force guides life, works not through spectacle but through moments like this, through your hands, your attention, your care. Days pass, each filled with similar moments. You notice the world with heightened awareness, the shopkeeper who struggles with a heavy load, the neighbor who silently battles loneliness, the coworker who hides fear behind a smile. Each encounter becomes an opportunity to extend the inheritance, your ability to bring light, presence, and kindness into a life that may need it. You begin writing letters of encouragement to people you have never met personally, friends of friends, distant relatives, even strangers you sense need support. Some are brief, others more intimate, but each one carries the same message, * you are seen. You matter. Your life is important, *. One night, as you sit by the window, the city quiet except for distant traffic, the key pulses lightly in your hand. The voice from your dream returns, soft and steady, "You are learning, my child." The wealth you were offered was never gold, never power. It was the ability to see, to give, to create abundance where there was none. You have claimed it, not by possession, but by presence. You close your eyes and reflect. All the moments you've once overlooked, the laughter shared, the burdens eased, the kindness given without expectation, are threads of the same inheritance. You understand now that it is not finite. It multiplies, it spreads, it grows with every intentional act of love and attention. In the weeks that follow, you notice subtle changes in yourself. Your patience deepens. Your empathy strengthens. Challenges that once provoked anxiety now call forth your courage. You begin to understand that the inheritance was not a one-time gift but a lifelong opportunity, to live consciously, to act deliberately, to love without reservation. And you begin to dream bigger, not of wealth, not of fame, but of possibility. Of projects that can lift others. Of creating spaces where people feel seen and heard. Of weaving a life that reflects the abundance that has always existed inside you. That night, lying in bed, you feel the warm pulse of the key in your pocket. You close your eyes and whisper a promise, "I will use this gift. I will not let it sit idle. I will see, I will act, I will love. And somewhere, in the quiet spaces between the stars and the hum of the city, the voice answers not with words, but with the certainty of presence, then your inheritance is fulfilled. The world waits for your light, the days unfold like a gentle river, steady and sure. You begin to notice patterns, rhythms, and connections that had once escaped you. The small acts of kindness, attention, and care you've offered are no longer isolated sparks, they are threads weaving through the world, creating unseen networks of light and grace. You realize that the inheritance is not static, it grows as it is shared, spreading quietly yet powerfully, like water nourishing hidden roots. At work, your approach has changed completely. You listen more deeply, offer guidance without judgment, and celebrate others' successes as though they were your own. People begin to respond differently. Colleagues who once seemed distant now seek your counsel. Small conflicts resolve with less tension, and you notice smiles lingering longer in the hallways. The office feels lighter, warmer, as if your awareness has altered the space itself. One morning, you decide to visit a community center near your neighborhood. You had walked past it countless times before, never pausing, never noticing the people inside. Today, you enter. The room is alive with chatter, laughter, and movement, a mix of hope and struggle coexisting. You volunteer to help, not knowing exactly what you can offer. By mid-afternoon, you are teaching a small group of children how to paint, how to express themselves, how to believe that their small efforts have meaning. One child looks up at you with wide, shining eyes and says, "I didn't think I could do this." You smile and answer, "You can." You just needed someone to remind you. It hits you then that the inheritance is precisely this: to remind, to awaken, to illuminate potential where it has been forgotten. Your heart swells with gratitude and purpose. You understand that the billionaire family was a symbol of opportunity, the opportunity to recognize and nurture what has always existed within yourself and others. Weeks pass, and your life becomes a tapestry of small, meaningful moments. You begin to mentor a young colleague struggling with confidence, encourage a neighbor whose loneliness is palpable, and dedicate time to creative projects that inspire and uplift. Every action feels deliberate yet effortless, guided by a sense of abundance you never knew you had. Even at home, you see transformations. Meals are shared with friends who stop by unexpectedly. Conversations unfold with depth and curiosity. Laughter fills corners that had long been silent. You realize that the inheritance is not a treasure stored in one place, it lives wherever love, attention, and intentionality are poured. One evening, as snow falls lightly outside, you take a walk to the river. The currents move swiftly, yet peacefully, carrying reflections of the city lights across the water's surface. You pause on the bridge, breathing in the crisp air. Everything feels interconnected: the people you've helped, the gestures of kindness you've witnessed, the moments of courage you've embraced. Each thread contributes to a larger fabric, a luminous design you cannot fully see but can feel. A child struggles with a small boat they are trying to float on the river. You kneel, steadying it, showing patience and care. When the boat finally glides across the water, the child's laughter fills the air, and you feel the inheritance moving through you, active, alive, manifest. You understand that wealth, in its truest sense, has always been about presence, attention, and action. The voice returns, soft but steady, echoing through your mind. You have claimed the inheritance, not by waiting or hoping, but by giving. The fortune was never gold, never status. It was the ability to live fully, to see, to care, to transform. You are a living testament to the wealth of love in the world. Tears rise as you feel the truth in every word. You realize the emergency was never about urgency in the external world, it was about awakening to your own capacity to make a difference, to embody abundance, and to live intentionally. In the following months, you notice something remarkable. The people whose lives you've touched begin to radiate confidence, hope, and creativity. Colleagues innovate boldly, children pursue new passions, neighbors reach out in unexpected generosity. The ripple effect of your actions spreads quietly yet powerfully, just as the voice promised. You also notice change within yourself. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable now call forth strength and clarity. Fear is no longer a master, it is a teacher. Every day becomes an opportunity to exercise discernment, compassion, and courage. The inheritance has become a living force in your life, guiding choices, shaping relationships, and inspiring purpose. One quiet night, you sit by your window, looking out over the city lights. The key from your dream rests beside you, warm, humming faintly as if acknowledging your growth. You reflect on the journey, the awakening, the small, and in the calm of your own awareness, you understand the final truth. The richest inheritance is not given, it is recognized, nurtured, and shared. Time moves quietly now, yet with clarity you have never known before. Each morning carries the same gentle urgency, not to rush, but to notice, to act, to give. The city hums around you, yet you feel rooted in a rhythm that is entirely your own. You have come to understand that the inheritance was never about waiting for opportunity, it was about awakening to the life already available to you. The key from your dream rests in your hand, warm and steady. It is no longer a mysterious object but a symbol, a reminder that doors can always be opened, that abundance exists where attention and care are placed. You feel its pulse every time you step into the world with purpose, and it is enough to remind you that wealth flows through giving, not taking. You begin to reflect on the journey. The letters, the small acts of kindness, the mentorship, the patience, all of it has transformed not only the lives of others but your own. You notice how the simplest gestures ripple outward, the child who learns to trust their abilities, the coworker who gains confidence, the neighbor who begins to smile again after years of silence. Each act is like water flowing over stones, slowly reshaping the landscape. The voice returns one evening, softer than ever, resonating like a song. The world has watched your choices, and you have responded. You have taken what was given as potential and made it living. This is the true inheritance, not something to hoard, but something to embody, to share, to grow. You close your eyes, feeling tears that are no longer of doubt or fear but of recognition. You understand now that emergency was never a threat but an invitation. The billionaire family, the sudden selection, the urgent call, they were symbols, guides pointing toward a treasure that can never be measured in material terms. As days turn to weeks, weeks to months, you notice subtle, miraculous changes. The people around you begin to shine in ways that inspire others. Your city, once a blur of faces and noise, feels alive, connected, and full of possibility. Your presence seems to carry a quiet authority, not of wealth or power, but of care, awareness, and intentionality. You have become a living testament to what it means to inherit something truly valuable. One evening, you walk through the park where children play and laughter rises like music. A young girl approaches you, holding a small, tattered notebook. "I want to write something beautiful," she says. You kneel beside her and offer guidance, patience, and encouragement. When she lifts her head, her eyes shine with pride. You realize then that the inheritance has spread. It lives now in her courage to create, to give, to notice the beauty in the world. Night falls, and you sit at your window reflecting on your life. The journey that began with a mysterious message, a dream, and an urgent call has brought you to a place of quiet certainty. You are aware now of the power you carry, the ability to change lives, to inspire hope, to nurture potential. This is the inheritance. This is the treasure no one else can give or take away. The key glows faintly beside you. Its warmth spreads into your chest, and you understand. It has always been yours, waiting only for your willingness to claim it. You whisper into the stillness, "I understand now. I will continue to give, to love, to see. I will carry this inheritance into every moment, every life I touch." Weeks later, you meet someone in need, not materially, but emotionally, spiritually. They sit with worry etched into their expression, afraid, unsure. You share your presence, your attention, your patience. You listen deeply, offer words carefully chosen, and guide gently. By the time you leave, they are smiling, a small light shining in their eyes. You walk away with a sense of fulfillment deeper than any wealth could provide. It is then that you fully grasp the lesson: the inheritance is not about what is received, it is about what is shared. Every act of kindness, every moment of attention, every gesture of courage is an extension of the fortune you were selected to embody. The world itself is transformed by these moments. Years pass. You grow older, yet with each passing day, your life feels more abundant, more meaningful. The small acts continue, teaching, listening, writing, encouraging. The children you once guided grow into young adults, carrying the inheritance further. Colleagues, neighbors, and strangers whom you touched remember your presence, and they, in turn, extend it to others. You notice that the city itself feels different. Not in buildings or traffic, but in atmosphere, in subtle kindnesses, in laughter that lingers longer. You realize that the inheritance has multiplied, spread through the lives of countless others, far beyond what you could have imagined. On a quiet night, you walk to the river once more. The water glistens in the moonlight, reflecting stars and possibilities alike. You kneel and dip your hands into it, feeling the flow of life, of connection, of purpose. The key hums faintly in your pocket, and the voice speaks for the last time: you have fulfilled the call. You have claimed what cannot be measured, touched what cannot be counted, and given what cannot be taken. You are the living proof that true wealth is love, presence, and action. Carry it onward. You close your eyes, feeling a deep peace. The journey has taught you that the inheritance is not an event but a way of being, a continual choice to see, to act, to give, and to love. You open your eyes to the world, and it greets you with 1,000 tiny lights, the reflections of the lives you have touched, the ripples of the fortune you embody. As you step forward into the night, you understand that this is only the beginning. Every moment offers another chance to live fully, to notice deeply, to give freely. The inheritance has become your life, your purpose, your gift. And in this understanding, you finally feel complete. Somewhere, far beyond the edges of what can be seen, the voice whispers, gentle and warm, "The world watches, and it is brighter for your presence." You were chosen, and you have fulfilled the selection. Now, let your light continue to shine. The snow falls lightly, the river flows, the city breathes, and you walk onward, fully awake, fully alive, fully wealthy in the ways that matter most. And as you step forward into each new day, you carry within you the limitless inheritance of love, presence, and purpose, an eternal fortune that no one can take, and that will continue to shine through every life you touch.